Yo, people, what's up? This is Malcolm Extreme, the content machine, coming at you with another reaction video from the Good Enough channel. This is the largest successful heist in history. It should be interesting. If you want to check out the video, the link will be in my basement. But before we start the reaction, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for more notifications from the content machine. Malcolm Extreme. Let's get started.
That were almost perfect and slowly work our way towards the ones that made some thieves multi-millionaires. Number 7, the Great Brinks Robbery. On January 17th, 1950,
I haven't heard of this one. I haven't heard of this
11
one.
men entered the Brinks Armored Car Depot.
look at this one.
All wearing
these drugs, caps, man. These drugs trip me out.
Halloween masks, and each carrying a .38 caliber revolver. The 5 workers on shift that day were quickly tied up and their mouths were taped shut. The thieves were in and out within 20 minutes, stealing over $2.7 million in cash and valuables.
You guys have to imagine, like, back in this time, it had to been like super hard to catch criminals because like there was no surveillance and like technology wasn't the way it was. Like there was no helicopters, I'm pretty sure.
A value that would be worth around $36 million today.
Damn.
No one was injured and not a single piece of useful evidence was left behind. Even the escape vehicle that was used for the robbery was later found cut to pieces at the local dump. All in all, it was the perfect heist. It would even be labeled by the media as the crime of the century.
Damn, the crime of the century.
The case would have gone cold if it weren't for the greed of 2 of the thieves. You see, later that year, 2 of the thieves were captured in another bank robbery, Joseph O'Keefe and Stanley Guscara. Both men were looking at many—
Man, you gotta think, like, after robbing a place for millions, you want to settle down somewhere out of the public eye and just live your life off of that money, man. I don't understand why people would just do it again for the thrill. I don't know, man.
Years behind bars, so they began to beg their previous partners for money to help pay for their lawyer fees, but they were rejected.
No, hell
and
no.
Sentenced to jail. After serving his time, O'Keefe was released, only to be arrested once again. And just like before, he requested money from his previous partners.
Dude, you have to know when to stop when the getting is good, man. That was the perfect time to stop. And then you just go back into it.
This time claiming that he didn't get his fair share in the Brinks robbery. But again, he was rejected. So O'Keefe threatened to testify against his previous partners unless he got some money. Soon after his threats, O'Keefe was shot multiple times by a hired hitman, but barely survived. While recovering in the hospital, FBI agents approached—
Yo, that's one thing too. Like, if you're in the robbery with somebody and you get out, and then they get caught and they start asking for money, that's the perfect time to just dip and just completely ghost them, bro. Like, no, oh, I was their friend for like 10 years or some shit. Nah, you have to ghost them at that point.
Him making a deal to testify against the men that tried to kill him. O'Keefe testified in court, explaining in great detail on how they managed to pull off the Brinks robbery.
Man, what a snitch, bro.
Were sentenced to life in prison.
Damn.
Now, the crazy part is that if this trial had taken place just 5 days later, it would have reached the statute of limitations, and all the men would have gotten away with the perfect heist. Number 6, the Lufthansa heist.
It always takes one, bro. It always takes one.
Was the Lufthansa heist.
I think I heard of this one.
Night on December 11th, 1978, 6 men broke into the Lufthansa's airline cargo terminal at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport. The men quickly made their way to the airline's vault,
stealing one of them looked like a baby.
$5.8 million in cash and $800,000 worth of jewels, a value that would be worth around $32 million today. No bullets were fired, nobody was injured, and the heist only took an hour to complete. On that night, those 6 men managed to pull off the largest heist.
Dude, actually, that much money in 1 hour is not that bad. If they were done in like 10 minutes, that'd be pretty fire.
In American history. None of the men involved would ever be caught for this robbery.
Damn.
But just because the men were never caught doesn't mean that they lived long enough to enjoy the money. You see, authorities began to connect the 6 men to the Lucchese crime family, one of the 5 notorious Italian-American mafia crime families that ruled New York during this time period. But as authorities began to pinpoint—
Yeah, I think like when they start connecting you to like different like crime families and stuff like that, they can get you under like RICO, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that like another type deal?
Point exactly who was involved in the robbery. One by one, the men in question began to show up dead.
Damn.
Over a dozen bodies and numerous disappearances.
He looks like a toilet bowl. He looks like a toilet bowl, bro.
Many men were found shot to death, A man was found hogtied and frozen to death inside of a meat refrigeration truck.
Oh, dude. This was the heist from Goodfellas, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it? It sounded familiar. I'm pretty sure this was the heist from Goodfellas.
Then a few days later, a woman's torso washed ashore in New Jersey, and so on and so on. In the end, none of the money was ever recovered, and with so many people murdered, no one really knows who ended up with the money. But whoever did would be set for life.
Absolutely.
D.B. Cooper. On November 24th, 1971, a man named D.B. Cooper purchased an
I heard about this one. I think he stole like 100,000 or $1 million. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember the details, but I heard about D.B. Cooper.
To Seattle, Washington. He was one of 36 passengers on that flight. As soon as the plane took off, Cooper ordered a bourbon and soda, and after consuming his drink, he handed the flight attendant a handwritten letter, instructing her to sit next to him.
I want the money now,
When
bitch!
she did, he opened up his suitcase and showed her a bomb.
Oh my God.
He instructed her to tell the captain that he would need 4 parachutes and $200,000 once the plane landed in Seattle, which...
Yo, it's crazy, like, how much inflation... Like how much money costs without inflation back then. Like $200,000 being 1.6 is actually kind of nutty.
Quickly did. When the flight finally landed, the FBI made sure to give Cooper exactly what he had asked for, but in exchange for all of the passengers on board, which he agreed to. Cooper would only keep 4 crew members on board as hostages, locking them all inside the cockpit. He instructed the captain that their next destination was Mexico City.
I think he jumped out with a parachute.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Spoiler alert.
Cooper instructed the captain to fly at an elevation of 10,000 feet. And just 20 minutes into the flight, the captain was alerted that the back of the plane's stairs had been lowered. Suspecting that Cooper might have jumped, he landed the plane in Nevada. On arrival, the FBI quickly searched the plane. But of course, Cooper was not inside.
He jumped out.
He had jumped from the plane into the forest in the middle of the night.
Like a freaking daredevil, bro.
Somewhere between Seattle and Reno. Over 200 U.S. military officials, including the Army and Air Force, conducted one of the largest land sweeps ever done.
Yo, they were looking for his ass.
That night of the flight would be the last time anyone ever saw the man with the name of D.B. Cooper.
You know what could have happened? He could have died. He could have very well have died with that money. Who knows? Like, he could have not stuck the landing, got hurt, and then the animals got to his ass. And the money was just like, how you say, eroded over time. Yeah, that could have happened too. Or maybe he got away.
Number 4, the Great Train Robbery. On August 8th, 1963, a gang of 15 robbers intercepted a Royal Mail train in Buckinghamshire, England. The robbers had stuffed a glove over the green railroad light and powered the red light using a portable battery, causing the driver of the train to come to a complete stop. As the driver went to investigate why the train was signaled to stop, he was quickly attacked and hit over the head with the metal pipe.
See, I think they could have probably approached that a lot less violently, but these are criminals we're talking about. Also, I appreciate that Good Enough is bringing like stories in that I've never heard about. That's just intriguing to me.
And handcuffed and thrown to the side of the tracks. The robbers would escape with 2.6 million pounds, a value that would be around 46 million pounds today, or approximately $60 million. After the robbery, all 15 men and 2 key informants met at a farmhouse. There, they evenly split the money and fled. The farmhouse was then set ablaze by 6 men who were paid to destroy all of the evidence. But unfortunately for the thieves, the 6 men did such a terrible job that the police were able to acquire all of the burglars' fingerprints.
Yo, they should have just done it themselves, bro. Why bring people from the outside to do it? Like, I don't understand, bro.
Prints, which they found on a Monopoly board. Thanks to the board game, 15 of the 17 members would get arrested, convicted, and sent to prison.
Honestly, this should have been further up the scale of Almost Perfect, you know?
Only one of the members was acquitted, as there just wasn't enough evidence to convict him. Meanwhile, the other member, who was believed to have had inside information on the train and the valuables it was carrying, was never caught or identified. And to this day, this man remains a complete mystery.
Escaped with 3.5 mil.
Alias, the Ulsterman.
The Ulsterman. Oh my god, bro. That's actually kind of a kick-ass name. I'm not even gonna lie.
is known about him.
The Ulsterman,
Number
bro.
3, the British Bank of the Middle East heist. Now, there is no other heist surrounded in more mystery than the British Bank of the Middle East heist. On January 20th, 1976, an unknown amount of thieves broke into the British Bank of the Middle East in Beirut during a
starting to get
war.
more into the
heist
present
began
time.
when the thieves broke into the neighboring Catholic church
Oh my God,
as they shared a wall with the bank. They then set off explosives on the connecting wall, gaining access to the bank. Once inside, the group's locksmith quickly got to work on the vault's lock.
Oh, this is like some Joker shit, except nobody's icing each other during the heist.
And within a few hours, the thieves acquired anywhere from $20 to $50 million worth of gold bars, cash, and jewels. An estimated value of around 110 to 200.
Okay, you know, I don't condone bank robberies, all right? I'm just saying, like, as far as the entertainment factor goes on these heists, you know, it's interesting, okay? I'm not saying nice. Oh, like yeah, they're robbing people and shit like that. Nah. I'm just like entertained. I'm fully entertained. Like this is a movie, okay?
$80 million today. With no leads or suspects to go off of, an investigation never really began. This was a flawless heist done at the perfect time. Of course, without knowing how many thieves there were, I can't calculate how much money they each would have gotten, but it's safe to assume that each member made it out a multi-millionaire.
Absolutely.
Number 2, the Antwerp Diamond Heist. On February 15, 2003, one of the most elaborate heists in history took place. It would even be known as the heist of the century. The Antwerp Diamond Heist was planned by a mastermind named Leonardo Notarbartolo. But for anyone who worked at the Antwerp Diamond Center in Belgium, Leonardo was just another diamond merchant who worked in the building. As he
was an inside man. That's what you call the inside man. He knows everything about the business, and he knows exactly how to rob this shit.
He had worked there for over 3 years. You see, this was all part of the plan.
Oh, look, he got milk and cookies on his
to the building, including the vault, where all the lockboxes were located. And shortly after he was hired, Leonardo began to carry it.
I think that's what happens, like, right after, like, a bank heist. Like, all the employees are looked at and, like, interrogated. Or questioned, at least.
A small pen in his shirt pocket, which he had installed with a small camera. With the footage he acquired, Leonardo and his team created a replica of the vault where they practiced breaking into it for months.
Look at this guy.
The crew consisted of 5 men: Leonardo, Speedy, Monster, the Genius, and the King of Keys. Each equipped with a special set of skills to aid in the heist.
The guy from the Matrix.
On February 15, 2003, it was all or nothing. In the dead of night, the gang would make their way to the vault, quickly dialing in the combination,
that's really recent,
which they easily acquired thanks to a small hidden camera they had installed in the room a few days prior. They then turned the lights off, opened the vault.
Dude, you think at least 2003, people or security would have noticed this stuff. But then again, like, that guy had, like, all the information he needed about the bank.
Door. And quickly sprayed the heat sensor with hairspray and covered it with styrofoam. Then they covered the light sensors with black bags to avoid triggering the alarms. The second gate was quickly lockpicked by the King of Keys. And once that was opened, Monster carefully got to work on the alarm wires, disabling them. And in the complete darkness, the gang broke open all the lock boxes with a custom-made gadget the King of Keys had created.
Well, how would they, like, opening lock boxes? The thing about lock boxes is, like, you don't know what's in them. So I guess it's just like Storage Wars at that point.
Which just worked like a large corkscrew. A few hours later, with over $100 million worth of diamonds, jewels, and cash, the thieves escaped, not leaving a single piece of evidence at the crime scene. All in all, it was the perfect heist.
Yeah,
it wasn't until their escape out of the country that one of their members' paranoia would get the best of him.
Oh my God, it's always the one person, man.
Began to dump all the evidence.
No, why would you do that?
Instead of burning it as they had planned. This critical error came back to haunt them, as it was later discovered by the landowner. The junk contained envelopes to the Antwerp Diamond Center, surveillance tape footage, and receipts that linked the men to the crime.
Oh my God,
the men were quickly arrested and
they should have gave the damn evidence to Monster. I'm pretty sure he would have taken care of it.
Leonardo, the mastermind behind the heist, was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while
only
3
10
of the
years
members were sentenced to 5. Only one man was so.
Well, okay. Well, it was a seemingly non-violent robbery, but damn, 10 years for $100 million? I expect them to be thrown in for like at least 20, 25.
Meticulous as to not leave any traces of his existence before, during, and after the heist, escaping with his fair share of the loot. He walked away with $20 million worth of valuables, or a
You gotta be that guy in this situation. You absolutely gotta be that guy.
$34 million today. He has been described as an elderly man, but is only known to the world as the King of Keys.
The King of Keys came out.
Is considered by many experts to be one of, if not the most talented key forger on the planet.
Wow, bro. That's actually cool. I love it when they have people that are just like mysterious, you know? People who are mysterious that have like a set of skills, you know? Like the guy from Taken.
Gardner Museum heist. The largest successful heist in history might not be what you expect. On March 18th, 1990, in Boston, Massachusetts, around 12:30 a.m., 2 police officers arrived at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum to investigate a disturbance. Once inside the museum, one of the officers realized that the man working security behind the desk looked very suspicious. So he quickly asked
He definitely does.
As the man slowly got up from the desk and approached the 2 officers, he realized that one of the officers' mustaches looked to have been glued on.
Oh, he was the mysterious one. He was the suspicious one.
But it was too late.
It was a twist.
Pinned against the wall and handcuffed. As the second security guard arrived, he was immediately handcuffed as well. Both men were then taken to the basement.
That security guard looks like a child.
They then had their arms, legs, and eyes tightly duct taped. You see, the emergency button to signal the police was located on the security desk, and the moment the worker got up to show his ID, he had left it unattended. For the next hour, the 2 thieves disguised as police officers were easily acquired.
Oh, it's the Squidward painting. The Squidward painting from SpongeBob.
13 pieces of art valued at
I recognize that.
$200 million.
I didn't watch SpongeBob like that much, but I recognize that.
Today's money.
It's actually a lot. Holy crap.
The 2 thieves had pulled off the largest and most...
Like, here's the thing about paintings, though. Like, how are you going to sell it? I guess you can sell them underground, but, like, in all honesty, people are going to recognize them. People are going to know what they are, so you can't really sell them. It has to be, like, so hard to steal, like, a valuable painting and sell it just underground. And then the person who owns it, like, how are they really going to appreciate the painting out in the open if it's a wanted painting, you know?
Lucrative heist of all time.
A stolen painting.
Not a single piece of useful evidence was left behind. And to this day, no one really knows what happened to those valuable pieces of art, but were more than likely sold on the black market.
Absolutely.
The 2 thieves responsible for the heist were never caught. And the only thing the FBI would ever put forward is this terrible sketch of the thieves. No arrest related.
That just looks like a standard-ass cartoon drawing, doesn't it? Standard-ass police cartoon drawing.
To the case have ever been made. You see, the thieves knew that banks and diamond centers were carefully guarded with many security measures in place, but no one ever considered more than a single button to guard millions of dollars hanging on a wall.
Yeah, that's
that critical flaw. The 2 thieves who entered
that's an absolute critical security failure right there. There's no two-factor authentication there. It's just that password is password.
Police officers truly got away with the perfect and most lucrative heist in all of history.
Damn, good video, good enough. I can't believe that last one. That was the physical equivalent of having your password as password, bro. GG, man. Like I said before, I don't condone any of this shit, but like, as far as like the entertainment value, especially if you put some of this shit in a movie, yo, some people were up to some crazy stuff, some absolute mad people, or genius in some circles. Let me know what you think, guys. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications from the content machine, Malcolm Extreme. Let me know if you watch this video. Let me know if you watch good enough and if you like his channel. If you want to see this video yourself, the link will be in my basement. Take it easy.